Good morning, good morning, good morning. How are you guys? I know that this is not our regular Saturday, and I do appreciate you all who have been writing in asking me when we were going to do the budget live. Um, Unfortunately, or not unfortunately, fortunately, I like my part-time job. But for the last couple of Saturdays, I've been working at my part-time job. Oh, I always forget to bring you guys up over here. Give me just 1 second. I need to bring you up on this side so that I can see your comments. Um, I'm so excited though. I'm so excited to see you guys. I feel like it's been so long since we did a live. I feel like we did a live last month, but maybe just where I was like mentally and emotionally, um, it I wasn't as like present as I normally am, and so maybe that's why I felt like it's been a minute. Let's see. Oh no, there you are. So yeah, it feels like it's been a minute. So I'm super excited to be here with you all today. Good morning, good morning. Oh, I'm so excited. Are you so excited? We are in the month of July, and so for those of you who are just joining me, you've never joined a live, the live video usually takes around 90 minutes because I actually do my full budget live on camera, and I go through Dave Ramsey's budget forms. There are 4 forms in total, and it takes about 90 minutes to get through all of them. So I do see some of you guys already popping in your locations. You guys know that I love that. I love having an amazing international and national audience, and it just warms my heart how many people you can touch through just doing the work that you're born to do. So I'm super excited. So definitely say good morning, tell me where you're from so that I can give you all some shout outs. Now where's my bar for they haven't given me my bar to be able to actually type something. Let me refresh my page because I don't know why they wouldn't do that. I guess maybe I don't get to type now. YouTube has gone through some changes. And so there's some things that I was able to do before that I'm not able to do now. But I'll just say good morning to you all here. So good morning, Quiana Williams from Maryland, Iris from New York, Marnie from Maryland, Zakia from Augusta, Georgia, Tandy from North Carolina. Yay, Ashley, I'm so happy that you're making it live. The lives are super awesome. So remember that you guys can ask any questions. I have access to your questions. I'll just be able to scroll back up. I know a ton of you guys have been having questions about my budget and specifically about how like all the emotions have impacted my budget and where that's going. So you can feel free to ask those questions here. If some questions get a little bit off topic, I'll just reserve those for the end so that way we make sure we get all the budgeting content up front. And then I hang out with you guys just as long as we need to get all of your questions answered because I'm excited about going into the month of July. I don't know if you guys can tell, but I am so freaking stoked about this month. So good morning, good morning. Shantae from Alabama. Tandy said, I'm so excited. This is my first live with you. I recently discovered your channel. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate you participating. Oh, we have someone from Denmark. That will be our first international. Who is that? Stein Hansen from Denmark. Whoop, whoop. So let me make a little dash. I like to count my international audiences. I love everybody here in the United States. You guys saw my 4th of July, like let freedom ring, but there's something about having international appeal that warms my heart because it reminds me that like money is not just an issue that we have here in the States. And a lot of people think that because the way our economy is set up is very different than other countries. But money is something that touches everyone. And what I'm realizing is that for me, especially because money is so emotional, that is the reason why it's probably touching so many people. So let's dive into things without further ado. So when I do the budget lives, I like to do a little bit of housekeeping. So again, this is about my July 2018 budget. I am open to any question, but anything that's not related, what I'm gonna do is answer that at the end. Everything that's related to each individual form, I'm going to ask as we go along. I love questions, so definitely get those in there. Also, this video is sponsored by water. This is just refrigerator water. I would highly encourage you all to get some water. I always recommend that you guys drink water when you're doing your budget because it hydrates you, and the more hydrated you are, the easier it is for you to think. It like helps with the clarity of your mind. So drink some water. Budgeting is typically very videos with, I'm a student of Dave Ramsey's Financial Peace University, which means I am going to make mistakes. And if you have watched any of my other videos, you've seen those mistakes. But what I love about this community is you guys are really good about correcting me. So feel free to do that. Like, it's not I don't want you to think that this is one way where I'm just like, boom, this is how you do it. It's really two ways. So if you guys see me making an error, just let me know so that I can jump back into the budget and correct it, because I'm a student and I'm learning and I'm growing and I'm just getting better at this budgeting thing every single month. So that's housekeeping. Let's dive in. So I want to do high level numbers really quick so that way you guys sort of know what we're working with in terms of income, any sort of special things that are happening in the month of July that would impact my budget. And then we'll talk a little bit about like my intentions and then how that flows into the budget. So first things first, for income for the month of July, what I anticipate at this time is $1,500. And that would be $1,000 from my part-time job, and then $500 from my quarter-time company. And it was interesting because when I was thinking about sharing that, I was a little bit hesitant because I'm like, oh no, my last month my company made $1,500, and this month my company made $500. Like, what are they gonna think? And then I realized that a part of this journey is truly just me being as transparent as possible so that people can understand and begin to believe that everything is possible. But two, one of the errors that I made in my company before was expecting for my income to be consistent, even though my work wasn't consistent. And so what I mean by that is that, like, last month, you guys saw me do a lot of emotional work and release a lot of emotions. And I am very fortunate to be in a position that in me doing that, on the days where it was like really heavy, I didn't work. And so from my company, like, that's reflected in the earnings that I have from my company. It's reflected in the amount of hours that I contributed to my company and ultimately in my earnings. And so I don't want you guys to think that, or not that I don't want you to think, I don't want it to be, I don't want you to confuse me not earning as much as I earned last month with me having difficulties in my companies. I want you to see that as a reflection of when I'm doing like some of the videos that you guys are seeing and I'm like crying. It's not my intention. I just want you to know that I'm very, very like grateful to have the time to be able to process that. And sometimes that means like not doing anything for days, if you will. Especially when it came to resentment. Resentment hit me like a ton of bricks because there was so much grief there that I mean, if anybody's been through a grieving experience, it's very, very hard to just keep going. So that is my total income for the month of July is $1,500. My intention for the month of July, and this is something that I want to talk about up front because it's gonna be I'm even scared to say it out loud. So you guys know my intention for my budget report card is to earn more money. And I wasn't going to share the dollar amount, but I learned so well through speaking out loud, and I heal so much through speaking out loud that I realized that I want your accountability and I want your support. And I can't get that if I don't tell you guys what I'm working on. So my intention is definitely to earn more money, and specifically I want to earn over what my average is, and my average income is $1,500 to $2,000 a month. And so the income that I want to earn for July is $10,000. And when I say earn it for July, what will happen is I'll earn that in July, but I won't probably see a payout until like August or September, but I'll know based on contracts, clients, etc., that was the amount that came in, if that makes sense. And I'll do a little bit more clarification as the weeks go on. And so my intention is to earn more, and my goal income is $10,000. And a part of the reason why I said this is a goal income is, one, I wanted to do something that was a psychological stretch. And I wanted to do the psychological stretch because I want to see what comes up. Something that I've been learning as I've been just really diving into understanding money is that there's money and then there's drama. And I wanted to set an intention and set a goal number that would produce drama. And when I say drama, I just mean mental drama. And today's the 7th. So it's been 7 days that I've been aware that I wanted to earn $10,000 this month. And I'm doing well enough, but there's been so much drama that has come up. And what's wonderful about that is that, you know, I'm able to see how I'm self-sabotaging and what I'm doing to prevent income. And I'm able to like just bring up all of that emotional stuff that's blocking. So all of the money block clearing that I did last month, that was to help me to stop just like getting rid of the money when it came in, right? But what I realized is that I also have some emotional stuff going on with like earning my full potential. And so I want to address that. And so part of my intention is because I really want to make $10,000 this month, because I want to be able to pay off my PayPal, my City Girl. I really want to go shopping, you guys. Like, I really want to get this summer capsule. And I want to be able to do some things for my son as he transitions into his junior year. And I want to be able to pay for that at the beginning of August. So I really want to be able to earn that. So a part of it is just because I really want to, but the other part is because I really want to examine the drama that's associated with me earning higher amounts of money. So that's exciting. It will be interesting. I really wasn't going to share it with you guys, but again, there it is. I'm sharing. So even though that's my intention, that's not my income, so we can't budget based off of that goal. That would be something that we would see in August, but did want to let you guys know that that is something that is on the table. So if you have any questions, comments, please let me know. So I think that's all that we have. Now I'm going to take you guys over my shoulder and we are going to look at these budget forms. Before we go over my shoulder, I'm just going to do a few more shout outs and just see if we have any questions. Ashley said June was an amazing month for you. Yeah. Good morning, Iris. Love your channel. It has helped me a lot. I'm so happy. Katrina, I'm glad Water got in touch with you. I've heard they're a great company. Laugh out loud. Yes, Water is amazing. Water has been sponsoring my budgets for so long. Blue Marine said good morning from Italy. Boom, 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 boom. So excited. Beverly Lee, glad to catch you live. I'm so happy that you're catching me live as well. Yes, that's right. Pray it into existence. Shema. Okay, all right. So without further ado, there are no questions. So let's go over my shoulder and let's take a look at this budget. Stacey said, be careful not to stress yourself over that goal. It will do no good to make yourself sick. I 1000% agree. And so the caveat with me reaching for, let me just take this down while I do that. The caveat for me reaching with that goal is that like, I'm not able to overextend myself. So I'm not able to go more than quarter time in my company. I'm not able to like work overtime hours. Like I'm not able to like extend my hours beyond the 30 hours a week that I work a month. It's more so about me adding more. So I have some money philosophies, but there's a way that I'm doing it that is with the restriction of I can't go over the minimum amount of hours or the maximum amount of hours I'm allowing myself to work at this time, because as you guys know from the beginning of this, my priority has always been my mental health. But I'm also wanting to stretch my paradigm and expand my mind into realizing that like I can earn high income without doing the quote unquote like hustling hard work type situation, because that's not necessarily the only way to earn money. So yes, I 110% agree, Stacey. This will be stress-free. And I think sometimes this is just one more side and then we're gonna go over the shoulder. Sometimes people confuse stress-free with like work, or stress-free with like means like no issues, no pain, no problem. And it's just like last month's emotional work was stress-free, right? But it was intense and hard work. And it was this necessary part of my journey. And so I know the things that stress me out. And so the idea is like, I'm able to do any work so long as I'm not engaging in activities that stress me out. And one activity that stresses me out is me moving above, at this point, 30 hours a week. Really, really adds quite a bit of stress to my life. And so I'm not going to do that. So, all right, let's go over the shoulder now. And I'm just adjusting the camera to be able to do this. And as you guys remember, we had a little bit of difficulty last time but I think that we're seeing work, so I don't anticipate us having and then let's turn that around. Okay, perfect. And then we just have to move it around so that you guys can see it, right? Okay, that's the only issue. Okay, give me just a second. I'm still flipping you guys around. Give me a little music. You guys see that? Okay, can you guys let me know if you can see that? Can you guys see this okay? If I were to write here, can you see it, or do you need to be a little bit higher? It's upside down. Okay, so give me just one moment. Let me turn that around. Thank you. Okay, is that better? Now can you see it? Is it still upside down, or is it all set? I think the hardest part of the whole budgeting with me live is like the visuals. Like, okay, so I'm just gonna adjust one. I'm just gonna use a smaller book so that way I can reach better, so I can see better. Okay, and I'm also gonna take this out of this binder so that way I can maneuver better. Okay, so just for your reference, the forms that we're going to be using is the Quick Start Budget. This is Dave Ramsey's Quick Start Budget. What I love about this budget is it helps you to be able to get a really quick overview of your 4 walls. Then I'm going to move on to the monthly cash flow. The monthly cash flow includes your 4 walls plus additional categories like your lifestyle or personal and your debt. Then after that, we're going to go to the allocated spending. And the allocated spending, it's technically front and back here. So there are about 6 pages of the allocated spending, and this helps you to break down each of your where you're placing your money in each of your pay periods. And then we have the irregular income planning. Okay. So I'm gonna. Lizzie said it's too far away. Okay, let me see. Is that better? Is that better? Trying to make this perfect for you guys. Here, I can do it like that and then just pull it down. Is that better, guys? Woo. Yeah, and then I'll just slide it down each sheet. Yeah. Bridget said, you're doing a great job. Your release of guilt, resentment, and other negative emotions will make a dramatic change in your journey. Are you in the prayer? You are in my prayers. God bless you. Yeah, it's already dramatically improved my life. Like, it's amazing to see the impact that that has been having on there. So, all right, let's take a look. So it'll be a little wobbly in between each sheets because this is literally sort of sitting underneath the sheets, but I want to give you guys the best view possible. So as I mentioned earlier, my income is going to be $1,500 this month. And so you all know that I pay 10% in tithes. So that is 150. You guys know that my emergency fund is funded, so I don't have to add anything to that category. Then I have my rent and mortgage. My rent and mortgage is $845, which I've been so blessed to like be getting so many bonuses and reductions in rent. Like it's amazing. My electricity bill, the budget is supposed to be $25, so it hasn't quite been that, but it hasn't quite been that, but I'm still going to put that in the budget, and then if it doesn't, if it's less, it's less. So 25, and the same thing with gas is 25. I don't pay water, I don't pay trash. My cell phone bill is 35.82. Many people ask who's my cell phone provider because my cell phone bill is super low, and my cell phone provider is Virgin Mobile, and I have an iPhone 6, and so the iPhone 6 was just purchased outright, and then the phone plan that I have is unlimited data, unlimited talk, text, etc. And I think the thing that keeps my phone bill so low is that I get, I think, 6 gigs of high speed, and then it's reduced to lower speed, but it's not really something that I notice very much because I'm usually using the internet anytime I'm using the I'm usually connected to Wi-Fi anytime I'm using something that takes data on my phone. But that's how my phone bill is so low. I don't lease my phone. I purchased the phone outright, and then my monthly bill is $35.82. Also, it would have been 40 and some change, but when you sign up for auto draft, this is one bill that I do have on auto draft, you get $5 off. So that's why it's so low. All right, and then my internet is taken out of my business expenses, and I do not share my business income expenses here on my channel. This may be something that changes, but right now, while I'm learning, I don't have the chops for people to be on the inside of my company right now. While I'm learning how to do personal finance, I don't have I can't handle, I wouldn't be able to handle that. So, in me being honest with myself, that's just not where I'm at, but maybe something in the future. Groceries, I'm planning 75. You guys will have seen my grocery haul. And if you add up the total of my grocery haul, it was $5.12. So if I only do $50, then technically I'm 12 cents over. If I add the additional 25, then you guys know the difference. But I'm going to plan for 75. I'm not going to plan for any clothes this month. I don't have a car payment, so I usually just cross that out and put transportation and what I'm going to give myself for transportation this month is 50 because I gave myself $100 last month and I didn't get anywhere close to it. I think because the weather is warmer, I'm 10-minute walk to the beach, 10 minutes to most of my grocery stores and like convenience stuff, about 20-minute walk to work. I'm not really finding a need to have a bus pass, but I'm still able to access like parks and fun stuff. So we'll see. We'll put that at 50 for this month. Then we come down to my insurances, and my life insurance is 105.31, I believe. I should have wrote that down because I feel like I always had that a couple dollars off, and I want to not do that. So let me go grab the price of my life insurance. I'm just pulling up the Every Dollar app to see what my life insurance was last month. For those of you who are doing your budget live, I would recommend taking a sip of water right about now because just after this, we're going to get into some more heavier stuff. My budget is much tighter this month, so you will see that there is a limit to what I can do in this month. And one question that I'm asked often is, how do you budget on a low income? I would say consistently, because budgeting. I think budgeting in general is just the best thing ever, but especially when you have a low income, you just have to do it consistently. You're gonna mess up, and if you guys watch my videos, you see that I mess up quite a lot. It's 102.31 is my health insurance. You see that I mess up quite a lot, but because I kept consistently trying and trying and trying, I'm feeling so much better and way more confident in my budgeting. So on a low income, you just have to do it consistently. You literally just have to take out the pen and paper and write the numbers down. And progressively, as your paradigm shifts, you will become stronger and stronger. Oops, definitely put that on the wrong line. Sorry, guys. 102.31 is my health insurance. You guys know that I got life insurance last month as I completed baby step number 1, and my life insurance is $10.50. And I don't have disability insurance yet. We are planning on putting a rider to my life insurance, but until that's approved, they have to do some like reviewing of like my profession and whatnot. And so until that's approved, it's just not on there. And then I don't know. Well, I know why they put that over here. So my renter's insurance, I didn't put that here because I was going to put it on my insurance side. But so my renter's insurance is $575. And then the other categories that I'm going to put here in personal, because you guys know that I prioritize those higher now, is my child support and my son's commission. And commission is just the language that I'm using instead of allowance. So my son's child support commission and plus his iTunes. The total amount of my income that I wanted to be is 10%. And so that would mean my child support would be 90 this month. My son would get his 50, and then 1069 on the iTunes account. So this is essentially my 4 walls. This is me taking care of my basic necessities. This is what the Quick Start budget is about. And so before I move forward, I'm going to add up those total and see where I am at in my budget. So you guys definitely do the same. Micah said, did you get a car? No, I have really, really great friends. So sometimes I borrow their car. I don't know why this screen is just, there we go. And then Stacey said, yeah, you were driving it in your grocery haul. Yeah. And I'm grateful that that happened at that time because, as you guys know, I got caught in a big storm. I did not want to go to all those stores. I thought there was a calculator on here, and there's not. Okay, give me just one moment. I need to add up those prices. Or add up those totals. So while that's happening, you guys add up your totals also. All right, so when I add up my total from my 4 walls, aka my quick start budget, I have this total comes to 1475.07. Now, my total income for the month of July that I'm anticipating is $1,500, which this just tells you, even before we get into any of the other budget forms, that July is going to be a much tighter conservative month, because just in my, I literally have enough income to just cover my four walls. Now, for most people, that will produce an extreme amount of stress, but I'm not as stressed about it, because if I'm covering my four walls, then I'm doing everything that I need to do to like live comfortably, right? Like nothing is behind. I won't be out of food. I won't be neglecting my financial responsibilities as a parent. I'll have shelter, etc. That's why it's super, super important when you're budgeting to master your four walls first, so that that way everything else truly is like moving into a place of like abundance, moving into a place of like more, moving into a place of it just being more money for you to be able to manage, but more money for you to be able to manage stress free. Because any money that I make after this point, I know goes into lifestyle and I know goes into debt. So I'm hoping that that makes sense to you guys. But yeah, so even though this is going to be a very, very tight month, I'm okay with it, because everything that is important to me is getting taken care of this month with my base income. So does anybody have any questions or anything like that about my quick start budget or the quick start budget in general? I'm just going to refresh my page just because I want to make sure that things are refreshing. Okay. All right, so if you can give me a 1 in the comments if we are good to go on, I would certainly appreciate it. That way I know we can go to our next budget form. Can you guys hear me? I'm not getting, I asked just because I'm not getting any comments. Okay, there we go. So if we're ready to go, so I see a couple of ones. There you guys are. All right, so we're gonna go to our next budget form. Does anybody have any questions about the quick start budget? All right, so now we're moving on to the cash flow. We're moving on to the cash flow, and the cash flow plan is literally this is the budget form where you tell your money where to go. So quick start budget is all about seeing what it costs to cover your four walls. The cash flow budget is all about telling your money where to go. So it's 2 pages. And I'm gonna have to back up because you guys can't see that. It's 2 pages and it looks like this. So a lot of this month's budget is going to be sort of a copy and paste situation from my quick start budget, simply because my income is so close to only being able to cover my four walls. Okay, so I'm gonna go in and I'm going to do my budgeted amount of $150 for tithes. And then at this time, I'm not doing any charity or offering. Savings, I don't have any savings goals this month because my emergency fund is fully funded. And yes, I'm going to be that person who's always like, yeah, my emergency fund is fully funded. I have an emergency fund, because that is an amazing feeling. Marnie Griffin, the Quick Start budgets are a part of Dave Ramsey's Financial Peace University program, but you can click on any of my budgeting videos and there'll be a link for you to be able to download the forms, and then you'll be able to have them. But even if you don't have these forms, you can still sort of follow along in terms of just writing down your numbers, right? Like writing down the categories and writing down your numbers. I think what I'm going to incorporate sooner rather than later, because it may be something easier for everyone to access, is doing my budget in the Every Dollar app live. I'm always going to do pen and paper just because I'm a pen and paper girl, but I also want to be able to support you all in completing your budget too. So that is a possibility there. So then my rent is going to be $845. So I'm going to write that down. Do you guys see how insurances are not, oh wait, can you see that? Do you guys see how insurances are not right there? Um, that's frustrating because I would rather, if it's going to be under housing, I'd rather for it to stay under housing. But anywho, though, we shall move on. TN Batten said, is the emergency fund different from the savings? Yes, the emergency fund is baby step number one in Dave Ramsey's Financial Peace University program, which is a radical debt elimination and financial management program. And so once you have completed baby step one, then you can actually move to baby step two, which is to repay 100% of your debts. And the way that you do that is you bring on like this gazelle intense, super hustle level of intensity, and you pay it down in something called a debt snowball. But in Dave Ramsey's program, you're not able to move on to baby step number two until you've completed your emergency fund. Versus a traditional savings is just that, it's a savings for something specific. Whereas the emergency fund, you're literally putting that aside to complete baby step one and so that you can be prepared going into baby step two. So I hope that helps. Electricity, we're just going to put in 25. Gas is 25. I don't pay water, don't pay trash. My phone is 35.82. Internet comes out of my business expenses. So then food, I'm gonna come up here to food and do $75. I apologize, guys. I forgot to put my income up here. I think that that's something that's really important because in order to be able to do a zero-based budget, you have to start with your income. And most people don't ever do a zero-based budget because they don't start with their income. They start out looking at their expenses. And that inevitably cultivates a credit mindset or a overextending yourself mindset because you don't adjust your expenses to your income. You always are, you're supposed to adjust your expenses to your income, but people who start out with income don't. They typically just say, oh, I don't have enough money, I need to make more money, or I'm going to put this on my credit card so that way I have enough to float me. So it's really important to start off your cash flow plan with your income so that way you know what you're subtracting against. We don't have anything planned for close this month. Again, this is just transportation. And I put 50 here. We don't have any medication or doctor's bills or dentist or on optometry or vitamins or anything like that this month. And then we're going to go over to cash flow. To the second page of the cash flow. And we're going to come up here to insurances. And again, my new life insurance policy, term life, is $10.50. My health insurance is $102.31. My homeowner's renter's insurance is $575. And I will tell you, these insurances definitely make me feel secure. I love how Dave Ramsey suggests that you insure yourself in terms relative to securing your four walls and doing those things. So it's really awesome. Yes, well, therapy requires a payment period. There is no, I haven't found an insurance to be able to cover my therapy because it's categorized under pre-existing condition, which would take my premium to like 500 and some odd dollars to be insured at this point. So I just pay for therapy out of pocket. And we're actually literally going to come to that category because you guys saw that therapy was not included in my four walls. And so now we come down to personal. And personal, another really great title for personal is lifestyle. So this is where all of my lifestyle choices are. But even before I fill out any of my lifestyle choices, see, I don't like that child support is so far down here because it's not really an optional option for me. But I mean, it's an option. I'm doing it voluntary, but it's a priority and it's just not, doesn't show up as much of a priority when it's down here. But let me put that number in, 90. And then I just changed this to commission and change this to iTunes. So those are all in the same area. So 50 and then 1069 to make sure those all get. But before I fill out anything else, my toiletries are called household pantry. My cosmetics are called personal hygiene. But before I fill out anything else, You all know, based on my budget that I just, my quick start budget that I just did, and my estimated income, that before I can add anything to my personal category, my debt category, or my recreation category, we need to see how much money I actually have left in my budget to work with. So, according to my calculations, I only have $24.93 left in my budget. This is important because I want my budget to be a zero-based budget. So before I can add what I want personally here, like $20 for personal hygiene, pocket money, etc., I only have $24.93 left in my budget. So I cannot, if you guys are tracking with me, there's not any additional personal lifestyle things that I'm going to be able to manage and pay the minimums on my debts. And so for me, the minimums on my debt are a higher priority than my pocket money, my household pantry, my personal hygiene, in the sense that, and they're able to be a priority now because my four walls are secure and I have enough personal hygiene items or household pantry items to be able to manage not putting more money into that category this month. However, if my four walls weren't secure, if I didn't have like feminine hygiene products, if I didn't have those things, I would only have two options. I would have to cut another category that I put in my four walls. I would have to cut my grocery budget, my transportation budget. Um, I think those are the only two budgets that are flexible, my grocery budget or my transportation budget, to be able to cover those expenses. But what I don't do is say, oh, well, I'm $50 short, so let me just put it on my credit card. It's like, no, you only have this $1,500 that you have coming in this month. What are you going to do with it? So my $24.93 that's left over, you guys know for debts, I have a PayPal balance, and then I have City Girl Events, which is a business debt. And so for my PayPal balance, it is $15. And for my City Girl event, it is $25 is my minimum payment. My City Girl event is my priority debt of $25. So now I'm 7 cents over. That 7 cents I'm going to take out of my current just bank balance that usually just has a little bit of change, or I'm going to find a quarter or something to that effect to put into my bank so that way that's covered. What I'm not going to write in here is my PayPal minimum, because that's going to put me way, way, way too far over. And technically, I'm just going to do this 100% right, because that's what this is about. So $24.93 would come out of that pay period. And then that puts me at a zero-based budget because my income minus my expenses equals $0, right? So my income take home is $500. And then when I add up all these categories, all those categories should equal $1,500. And I'm just going to double check my math. Andrea Harville said, do you have a car or are you using public transportation? I'm using public transportation, and then sometimes my friends let me use their car. But I'm a public transportation girl anyway. I prefer it. I did have a car, and in order for me to get ahead on my budget, in order for me to stabilize my finances, I made the decision to allow my car to be repossessed. So I don't want to give you the impression that I did not have a car and like it just magically went away. Like, no, it was repossessed. It was sold in an auction. The difference between what I owe and the auction price is now my current collection debt that I have on that car. So right now I'm just adding up my numbers to make sure that my income minus my expenses equals $1,500, and I would encourage you all to do the same. Okay. Okay, so when I added up all of the expenses that I have listed here, it does equal $1,500. So I just want to go over it one more time to just clarify the whole zero base. So when I did my quick start budget literally covers what are my four walls. And my four walls include my tithes, my food, my emergency fund, clothing, housing, transportation, utilities, and under my personal categories, my insurances, my child support, and my son's commission. So essentially, my parenting response, my financial my parenting, financial responsibility, and insurances are under this category. So, based on my four walls, my total four walls cost for the month of July was $1,475.07. $1,475.07. So remaining in my budget, I had $24.93 left. I then went into my cash flow plan to make sure that I was covering my four walls and any additional expenses. Now, if I was earning more than $1,500 this month, you would have seen, say, for example, if I had earned an additional $200, you would have seen me allocate that $200 somewhere here, as well as allocate that $200 somewhere here. However, because my income that I'm anticipating this month is $1,500, a lot of this cash flow plan was copy and paste of my tithes, my food, rent, et cetera, et cetera. The new addition to the cash flow plan for me this month is my, or excuse me, not the new addition, but yes, the new addition is me making a payment to City Girl for $24.93. My minimum payment is $25. So then the question is, well, where do I get the 7 cents for City Girl? Am I not going to pay my PayPal? Am I going to go to therapy this month? Am I going to do pocket money, et cetera, et cetera? And so that is when Dave Ramsey's irregular income planning comes in. And in the months past, I was doing this sheet very, very wrong. So if you notice in the last 2 months, I just didn't even allow myself to do it because I really wanted to understand the zero-based budget. And the zero-based budget is all about making this, your income minus your expenses that are on this cash flow form, equal zero. And the way that you do that is income is 1,500, expenses is 1,500, your number is zero. Now, if I make any money over $1,500, that is what goes on here. So if I make, you know how sometimes my part-time income, instead of my check being $1,500, it'll be like, or excuse me, instead of my check being $500 even, it'll be like $533. So that $33 is additional income that for me, I don't plan in my regular budget because I rather work with my averages, because what tends to happen is I'll have one larger check and one smaller check, and the total will equal 1,000. Sometimes it'll go over the 1,000, and so that's where I will put the irregular income for spending. You guys know I mentioned at the top of this video that I have an income goal of $10,000 for the month of July. Some of the possibility of earning that will come with potentially there being a payout this month. It's not likely, but it could happen. I'm not saying that I can't possibly get a payout this month, but I totally could. And if I get a payout this month, that would be additional irregular income. And so to complete the additional irregular income, you put this information on a separate sheet. So what I'm going to think of for an additional irregular income is another $500. And I'm going to tell you why I'm putting that here. The reason why I'm doing an additional $500 is because typically my income averages between $1,500 and $500, or excuse me, $1,500 and $2,000 a month. So there is a very good chance, just with the trends of how my income comes in, that I will make an additional $500. Now, at the recording of this is July 7th. I don't see how that's coming in. I don't have any plans for that. There's not like a little stash somewhere. It's just based on my trends. whether I'm selling something or I offer a coaching or, something comes up, it tends to bring me right around the average of $2,000. So that's why I feel comfortable saying I may get an additional $500 this month. But again, if I do not, I am very happy with my four walls being covered and me being able to pay nearly the minimum payment on my debt. So if I get an additional $500 this month, what would I do with it? Well, the first thing that I would do is I would pay the 7 cents on my City Girl balance. And I'm just being very, very detailed with the number, with my numbers and my cents. Because I think that that's what I realized through releasing shame, guilt, and resentment is little ways. I mean, everything just seems sharper now. Everything just seems clearer. Like there are a couple of people who would comment and, they would be like, your numbers are so small. Like this is elementary. And I never was offended by it, but I honestly couldn't see how easy my numbers were. But now having cleared those feelings, I see how very simplified my numbers are, how very elementary my numbers are. Like I'm not dividing, I'm not adding interest, I'm really doing addition and subtraction. But I kid you not, with those emotional like blind spots, I couldn't see it, but now I see it. And because I see it now, I definitely want to consider my dollars and cents. So City Girl Events needs an additional 7 cents in order to make that minimum payment of $25. So that would be the first thing that I would pay from an additional $500 in my income this month. So then over here in this column, you would take $500 minus 7 cents. That would be $499.93. The next thing that would be the priority for me to pay would be my PayPal, because PayPal is a debt that has interest, and I'm on baby step number 2, and I get to focus and think about my debts. And even in baby step 0, you are paying your minimums, but I want to be very diligent about making sure that those minimums are paid. So then I would put $15 here. And then you would do $15 minus the previous balance, so $484.93. So after those two debts are paid, again, in order for me to, hold on. Any additional regular Google's? I feel like you're actually supposed to you're not supposed to subtract. Do you subtract? No, you add, right? I definitely think this is supposed to be a running total going down. It's not supposed to be a running total, going up. It's not supposed to be a running total going down, right? So 7 cents plus $15. Yeah, right? Because that would be $15.07. Yeah, okay. I'm sorry about that, guys. So you don't subtract. You just put your $500 up here, and then you put your balances and you add them down. So I know if I make an extra $15.07, then I'm able to take care of these two expenses, right? All I need to do is bring in an additional $15.07. So after I pay my debts, because those are a priority, the minimum payment on my debt, because those are a priority, so I'm on baby step number 2, the next thing that would be a priority is for me to have a therapy session. And therapy for me is $70 a session. So then $15.05 plus 70, $15.07, I'm sorry, $15.07 plus 70 equals $85.07. So I know if I get an additional $85.07, I can pay my minimum on City Girl, my minimum on PayPal, and do one therapy session. And I only had planned for one therapy session this month as what we planned from last month, partly because it's the summertime. My therapist is a human being, and she takes vacation and stuff like that. But then also too, I'm having moved and different things like that, I'm not experiencing as much stress as I was experiencing before. And as a result, I don't necessarily it's not like necessary that I go 4 times a month or twice a week, 8 times a month. LC Baby said, what is City Girl? City Girl Events is a event planning company. It's a business debt. I had an amazing event planner for a couple of events that I what was unable to execute, and that's my remaining business debt from there. Um, Crystal Radcliffe said, "How much is your City Girl payoff?" I have that information for you. My City Girl payoff would be, why is it not showing up here? Let's see. The last month. It's coming, it's coming, it's coming. Yeah, that would, I really, really, really want to pay that off. That debt was bringing me a really big, like, huge helping of shame that I wasn't really aware of. It's just taking a little bit for my balance to load. But to pay off City Girl, it would be, why is it not listing here? It totally was there before. Hold on. Something's going on with the EveryDollar app, and doesn't want to let me be great today. And I'm just looking in there because it was listed. Okay, so the payoff balance for my City Girl events is $5,673.40. Which, if I meet my income intention for the month of for the month of July, I will be able to pay that off August 1st, or within the month of August, which I would be excited about. So if I make $85.07 more than the $1,500, then I know I can take care of those three things. Now I want to see what are the other things that I would like to take care of. This month is my son's birthday month. I set money aside for his birthday gift last month, so I am feeling really good about, his birthday gift. He did break his phone. Well, he didn't break it, but his phone was broken. His phone got broken, and he has an iPhone 2, not an iPhone 2, but an iPhone also. And so I would like to contribute some money towards replacing his phone. And I have a great kid. So yeah, I have a great kid. And so I wouldn't just be doing it because it's birthday. I would be doing it because I have a great kid, and he's a teenager and phones are a part of their life. And so that would probably be something on here. I do have a couple of birthdays. So I'm going to put gifts here would come right after therapy. And I would do about $50 in gifts. My sister's birthday is coming up, and I want to get her something for her birthday. So a couple of birthdays. My son's birthday is this month too, but I already have his gift. So if I make $135 more than my anticipated income, then I would be able to also get a couple of gifts. I actually really this month want to put some extra money on my debts. And so I'm trying to be very honest. Okay, so I want to put some extra money on my debts. I would like to put an extra, like, if possible, an extra $200. Well, what's my PayPal balance? Hold on, let me see what my PayPal balance is. Let's get these numbers. So to pay off my PayPal balance is $537.05. So I would like to put an additional $137.05 on my PayPal, if possible, just to bring it to around $400. So that means if I make $272.12 over my anticipated income, I can pay my minimum on City Girl, my minimum on PayPal, a session of therapy, get some gifts for my July babies, my July birthdays, and pay an additional payment of $137.05 on my PayPal. But do you guys see how I'm planning an irregular additional income of $500, and I'm only up to $272.12? Do you guys see that? So let's see. What else would I like to do? If I would, and the idea is to make a plan for the full amount extra that you anticipate. Um, let's see. I would like to give myself some pocket money. Pocket money has been really um, good in terms of just reminding me that like all of this money is my money. Because I think, because I think that that's something that I forget. Um, so if I make $292.12, I also can get some pocket money. Let's see, what else? The other thing that I would like to do, and I mentioned this in my budget report card, is I want to get ahead on my envelope system. So if with the remaining, let's see, with the remaining 207.88, which is just 500 minus 292, what I would do is divvy that up into my envelope systems, but not just for the month of July. So for example, my household pantry, I give myself on average, what do I give myself? I'm gonna go back and look at my budget. I give myself $15 a month for household pantry. So to stuff my envelope and be ahead, I want to do household pantry and do 30. And then that way, potentially I would have 30 for July and then 30 for August, and I'd be a month ahead. Again, this is if I make an additional $500 this month. Then for personal hygiene, I typically give myself 50. So I would want to give myself 100 to have for July and to have for August. What else? So I don't do hair care because I cut my own hair. I'm gonna do a video about some of the things that I've cut from my budget that helped me to keep my expenses low. But yeah, I don't do hair care because I cut my own hair, and the like shampoo and stuff like that, I buy that under personal hygiene. So then with the remaining 77.88, which would bring me to $500, that's what I'm going to spend on homemaking. And that is literally me buying stuff for my home. So I hope that this form is making sense. So we went from the cash flow plan to this plan, or the cash flow plan to this planning. And the reason we did that is because my cash flow plan literally is me telling my money where to go, but my income was $1,500 this month, and my four walls minimum to take care of my four walls every month is $1,475.70, which meant I had a remaining balance of $24.93 to work with in my cash flow planning. I put that $24.93 toward a debt. And then I came over to my irregular income planning and said, if I make an additional $500 this month, my first 7 cents will go to pay to finish the minimum on my City Girl event debt, next to pay the minimum on my PayPal debt, next to pay for a therapy session, next to pay for gifts, next to pay for an additional $137.05 for PayPal, next to give myself my $20 a month but pocket money budget, and then next to double stuff my envelopes so that way I will be ahead for the next month. So instead of giving myself $15, I would give myself 30. Instead of giving myself 50, I'm going to give myself 100. And then the remaining balance would go to my my homemaking for 77.88. So I'm hoping that makes sense. If you guys have any questions, please let me know. If not, we will move on to the next budgeting form. For those of you who have been following me for a while, like, you know that this is like such an improvement from my previous budget. So Amber. I'm just gonna abbreviate that to Amber because I believe I'm mispronouncing it. Why is personal hygiene 100? What's included? So personal hygiene is 100 only because I want to double stuff my envelope. So normally I only give myself $50 a month for personal hygiene, and I want to give myself $100 so that I'll have $100 in my envelope for July and $100 in my envelope for August, because I want my envelopes to be pre-stuffed, which would be similar to how I pay my rent. So my rent for July, well, obviously we're on the 7th, but in July I'm actually paying rent for August. I'm not paying rent for July. And I kind of want to get there with all of my bills so that way I'm technically always, well, not technically, I'm actually current with all of my bills instead of just being on time. So, and then inside of my personal hygiene is hair, skin, nails. That's just the actual definition of personal hygiene. So anything that it takes to maintain that, which would be, shampoo, soap, lotions, feminine hygiene products, nail polish, lip gloss, anything that it takes to maintain my hair, skin, and nails is personal hygiene. Soap, if I needed to buy a loofah or, a exfoliator brush. So I don't necessarily say I only can buy like soap. It's just anything that is hair, skin, or nails related. Yep. Any other questions about the irregular income planning form? All right, if you guys are ready to go to the next form, just drop a 1 in the chat box and we will go to the next form. Awesome. I'm so excited. We are like moving through this month. Okay, so we are at the allocated spending plan. Allocated spending is perhaps the most challenging form for myself, but I'm sensing that again with the emotional release, the emotional work, and the emotional release of those feelings, that I will just have the same clarity that I've been experiencing thus far with my dollars and cents. But essentially, the allocated spending is all about expressing in which pay period you're going to pay for what things, which is really, really important, because it's not just that you're going to pay, it's not just that I'm going to pay my rent of $845. It's that I'm going to pay for my rent of $845 out of which paycheck. And I'm very, happy with the way that I set up my budget, in that when I pay my rent, I don't have to worry about being stressed at the beginning of the month, and being, a lot of people have that like broke syndrome at the beginning of the month, because they have their rent, their car note, like every big bill is due at the beginning of the month. And so for the first 2 weeks of the month, they're stressed and overwhelmed and frustrated and blah, blah, blah. I literally can pay my rent at any time during this month, because I'm already a month ahead, if that makes sense. So this form is really all about saying, okay, out of this pay period, this is what I'm going to pay. And so what I'm going to do is put my pay dates on here. I have not mastered the pay period dates. I know that that is important. It's important because it helps you to understand the amount of hours that you worked in that cycle, and therefore to estimate your income better. However, I have just not mastered it well enough, and it blocks me from being able to get to the really important part. So at this time, I just focus on putting my actual pay date in the pay period line. So my first pay date is July 6th, which, yes, that would have been yesterday, but I have only spent my grocery budget out of my pay period. I have not spent anything else. Then my next pay period will be from my company, and I get paid on the 21st for my company. I get paid once a month for my company. And then my final paycheck, actually, that'll be I'll get a paycheck on the 20th from my part-time job, and then I'll get paid for my company on the 21st. Okay, and so I anticipate $500 from that pay period, $500 from this pay period, $500 from this pay period. And so the way that I am going to break down this is here on this form. This takes a little bit of time, so I'm gonna put some music on in the background and you guys can work on your form, and then I'll come back and review for you. Dang it. Ah, I wasn't supposed to put that there. Okay. Almost done. I made one error. I'm just going to fix it right now, really quick. Ah, still, my math is somewhere my math is wrong. So I only have 1069. Okay, so I'm sure many of you are likely still working on your allocated spending. I'm still going to talk through mine. Just in the interest of time, I'm going to go back and take a look at some of your questions. Um, so JJ said, how much does this program cost? If you sign up for Dave Ramsey's Financial Peace University, I believe it's $127, and you go to a class for 8 weeks, and you get his budgeting form, his online program, lifetime access. You get the community in the group. You get a book. You get a ton of things. You get a book. You get a 10-part CD series. You get a workbook, pencil eraser. You get a lot of goodies. It's definitely worth 100. It's worth way more than $127 in my opinion. I don't know if that changes state to state, but not really for sure. So Jessica said, your budget is messy AF. Why don't you type up a personalized sheet of paper for yourself so you can see all of your numbers on one nice, clean, organized sheet? this looks absolutely awful right now. Jessica, I would agree. And I think that the reason that I don't do that is because I'm not interested in my budget looking pretty. I'm interested in my budget being right. And I think that sometimes in order to make things look right, like they do get a little bit messy. Like if my car was like super filthy and I had been running it through the mud before it got cleaned, it would look dirty. If I had a whole bunch of dishes to wash before like everything was nice and organized, it would look a mess. And I think that one of the things that we sacrifice in our quest to have our numbers and everything look pretty is we sacrifice actually doing a budget that supports us and actually works. And I mentioned this before for why I don't necessarily like doing digital budgets or apps is because everything is so pretty that I don't feel it. I don't think about it. I don't have an emotional connection to it. And because I don't have an emotional connection to it, when I make a mistake, I just, turn it pink, swirl it around, and, like put some little stars around it and say, next month, pay attention to this bedazzled budget category. And you know what happens next month? Absolutely nothing. That's just me personally. The mess helps me to be able to see that I'm working through and thinking through. But I definitely say for me, it's just a part of the process. Like I've been mismanaging my finances for 14 years and it's going to look a little messy for a while. And I've only been doing it right for since October. So, and even in me doing it right since October, I was also learning quite a bit. So I'm okay with the mess. The mess doesn't scare me. I don't have any issues with that. But I hope that answers your question, Jessica. Um, Ashley D said, as long as it works for her, that's all that matters. Yeah, I think you have to figure out what works for you. Like, and when you do what works for other people, and that's why I mentioned in my video, I did a video on how to do a budget. And the reason I did that video is because so many of you guys are inspired by my journey and you're following me, but I am using a specific budgeting philosophy. And the first tip that I give in how to do a budget is to pick a budgeting philosophy because clearly for Jessica, this is a mess. But for me, this is progress. This is success almost. Like I just managed $1,500 and I'm not stressed about it. I'm not overwhelmed, but that is a good indication that this format probably does, excuse me, this philosophy probably doesn't work for people like Jessica. So I think that it's just important that we become self-aware enough to say, no, this works for me, this doesn't work for me. I don't really care what it looks like. All I care is whether or not it works. Aya said, good morning from Mexico. That's 3 countries. Thank you. 4 countries, including the United States of America. I love the U.S. Claire says she likes doing it with pen and paper and then transfers it to the computer. Yep. Chanel, sorry. Chanel Chandler. I'm just here to support you. Love you. Thank you. Asian Gandalf. Do you ever struggle with the fellow kind of your individuals? Asian Gandalf, you're gonna have to ask that question again. I'm not for sure what that means. Nora said good morning. Blair said, I don't know why for a second I thought her pin's top was also an eyebrow brush. Way too many makeup tutorials watched. Definitely way too many tutorials. Teresa said, love how your budgeting sheets are so real. This is how mine looks when I'm done doing it. Yeah, I think that that's important too. Like I think I get a lot of pushback on how, I guess, maybe raw, transparent, etc. that I am, but I think that the internet pushes out this super perfect message and a lot of us don't succeed because we're comparing our imperfect process to these picture perfect, like super curated feeds, and it's like that is so like demotivating and stressful. And so it's just like, yeah, I want y'all to know, even 7 months in, 9 months in, however long I've been doing this since October, my budget still looks a whole entire mess. Why? Because I am a student and I'm learning and I'm growing. Elle says, Stacey, I'm serious. There is a brown spider in the top right corner of the screen. Okay. I don't doubt it. I will do something. I don't know how to get that brown spider out of the top right corner of the screen. Emre 55, are you doing Dave Ramsey's debt snowball method, smallest to largest balance? Yes, I'm doing his debt snowball method. Jane from Ireland, yay, that is 5 countries, yay. 6 including the US. So we don't have any questions, so let me go over my allocated spending. budget. I did make an error, but I'm going to correct that off screen just in the spirit of time. I still am a little wobbly with allocated spending just because it is a lot. It's a lot of back and forth. So with the allocated spending, the purpose of the allocated spending is to tell your money where to go based on which pay period you are in. So I have 3 pay periods this month. I'll get paid on the 6th for my part-time job. I'll get paid on the 20th for my part-time job. And then my company salary, I'll get paid on the 21st. So out of my paycheck from the 6th, which is my paycheck from yesterday, today I will make some of these. And I spoke in error before because my cell phone bill and my renter's insurance has come out already. So I do apologize. That was an error in saying I only had paid for my groceries. But because those are auto draft, that's the reason why I didn't even think about it, which is also the reason why I don't like auto draft, because it's very passive. It's a passive experience for me to the point where it will happen and I'm grateful that the money is in there, but then I'll also forget that I did it. So I anticipate getting $500 from that paycheck. Out of that, I will pay my tithes of $150. Remaining balance will be $350. I won't do anything for my emergency fund this entire month, which is the reason why I crossed that out. I won't be paying my rent during that pay period, so that's why I crossed that box out. Then coming down, I won't be paying these expenses here, but I will be paying my cell phone bill, or my cell phone bill has auto drafted at $35.82. So then we come over to the next page, and I made mention that, I'm sorry. So my cell phone bill is $35.82, minus that my previous balance is $314.18. Then we come to my groceries, which are $50. $50 minus my previous balance is $264.18. Then I'm going to put $25 in my transportation cash envelope. I'm probably going to put $10 in my cash envelopes and leave $15 in my account so that way I can Uber off of that. And then remaining, it will be $239.18. Then when I flip this over to the back side, my renter's insurance has come out at $5.75. Remaining, it would be $233.43. Then here in my lifestyle personal category, I will pay my child support of $90, leaving a remaining balance of $143.43. Then I will also pay my son's commission of $150.60. Oh, that's where it is. I was like, I have $10.69 left over. I know where it goes now. I don't have to redo this. I'm super excited. I'm going to put it on the end. 50 minus the previous balance leaves me a remaining balance of $93.43. Then I come over to my next page. You guys know I don't put anything in my entertainment category. So down here in my debts, I'm going to pay the minimum City Girl event, which is $25. So I have to get an additional 7 cents to make the full payment. But out of this pay period, it will be $24.93. And then that is the final page. If you come down here, I have a balance of $68.50 left over. I did my math wrong the first time I did it. That's what the squiggly line is for, because I actually had allocated my PayPal, which I forgot that that's on my irregular income. So I crossed that out and redid the math. So I will take this $68.50. It will remain in my checking account. But for the purposes of making my math work on my allocated spending, I am adding my remaining balance in my checking account to the income that I anticipate that month. So 500 plus 68.50. So that way, when I'm subtracting the expenses that will come out in this pay period, I'm not showing a negative balance, because in my checking account, I won't show a negative balance because this remaining balance will be in there. This is important because before I would make the error of having negatives and all this drama, but nope, this is my remaining balance, and I'm just adding that total dollar amount so that way our numbers will flesh out correctly. So I've already paid my tithes in full. Just cross that out for the rest of the month. Again, I'm not contributing to my savings. I won't be paying my rent out of that pay period. So then we come down here. And again, the $500 plus the $68.50 means my starting checking account balance on this pay period will be $568.50. And then And then I will subtract $25, and that would be $553.33 remaining. Then I would subtract, I'm sorry, let me show you guys what that is. That's for electricity. Then gas is subtract $25. And that would be $500.28 and 33 minus an additional $25 leaves a remaining balance of $528.33. So then we come over to the next page here, and I will not be adding to my grocery budget out of that pay period. I won't be doing any clothing that I've allocated from my pay period, so that whole box is crossed out. I will give myself an additional $25 in transportation, again leaving $15 in my checking and putting $10 in my cash envelope out of that pay period. And then I just crossed out those remaining boxes because I don't have any budget. I don't have any medical expenses coming out, so I just crossed out that entire box. Then I come up here to my insurances. I will pay $10.50, leaving a remaining balance of $492.83. Then I'll pay my health insurance of $102.31, leaving me a remaining balance of $390.83. Then I will go over to the next page. Again, I don't have any budgeted for entertainment, not paying any of those bills. And then I come down here and I subtract my $24.93 from my previous balance, and left over I would have $380.69. That $380.69 will then be left in my checking account. And so the remaining balance of $380.69 plus the $500 additional dollars that I'll make from my company salary will be the total balance in my checking account, which would bring my checking account balance to $880.69. Again, I paid my tithe, so that's done. No savings. Out of that $880.69, I will pay the full payment of my rent of $845, which would leave me a remaining balance of $45.52. Then, if necessary, I'll give myself the remaining $25 in grocery money, which would leave me a remaining balance of $20.52. That's not right, I don't think that's right. Which would leave me a remaining balance of $20.52. So then we'll come down, and then hold on, one of my numbers somewhere is wrong. Hold on, give me just a second. Because I have $20 left over, but that time when I did, I only had $10.69. Okay, I'm gonna correct this really, really quickly. Someplace my math is wrong. All right, so that'll be 500 plus my 380.69. That equals 880.69 minus 845. That's where it is. This should be $35.52 remaining. So out of $35.52 remaining, we go to the next form, and then I would subtract, because remember I did my math wrong and I just didn't cross out those numbers. So then minus the $25 leaves me a remaining balance of $10.69. Then that would come out of what I forgot to put down here in my personal is my son's iTunes, and then it would be $10.69, which would leave me a balance of $0 in my checking account from my actual income that I made and allocated, which I'm super excited because this is the first time that I've ever done an allocated spending, and it's actually been accurate. So I did see a couple of questions pop up, so I'm going to answer those questions, and I'm going to turn the camera around and answer as many questions as you guys want to hang on the line for. Lizzie Strawberry said, love you. I love you too. You guys have no idea. My love language is words of affirmation. So when I see you guys in the comments, I know how much time it takes to comment and watch and do all that stuff. And I just appreciate you guys for taking the time to do that. Anne-Marie55, are you doing the Dave Ramsey? Yes. Hello from Ireland. I agree. Do what works. Blair Woodruff said, can you talk about the snowball method? Yes. I'm going to turn the camera around when I talk about that. Rarity Hard, do YouTube marry me? Don't know what that means. Marie Thomas, good budget. Yes, thank you very much. I'm very proud of this budget. Oh, will you marry me? No, sir, but I appreciate your proposal. Lisa Strawberry said, what do you do for entertainment? I have my Aunt Lisa's Netflix password, so I watch Netflix. I have her Hulu password, so I also watch Hulu, but mostly I read. I go to the beach. I really, really like reading, so I probably spend more time reading and at the library. And even as I'm like budget planning and space planning for my new home, I'm not planning for a TV. Like it's just a very low priority. But mostly just reading is what I do, and like hang out on the beach. I love the water. Hey Marie, would the snowball wouldn't PayPal be prioritized over City Girl? What's the reason? Ooh, you are right. Ah, dang it. You are so right. You see there, guys? You see there? This is what I mean. I think, first of all, let me reread it because I think I responded to it before I finished the whole question. So, Amray55 said, with the snowball, wouldn't PayPal be prioritized over City Girl? What's the reasoning for the reverse? And she is right, because the snowball method, and I like following things the right way. The snowball method is you repay the smallest debt first and then the larger debt. Now, I'm going to tell you what my reasoning is, but I'm going to go back into my budget and I'm going to actually correct it. My reasoning is because I know the person who I owe the City Girl event to. I wanted to make sure that that account got paid out of money that I knew was coming, and I was willing to plan, because if you look at my irregular income for spending after the 7 cents to pay the full balance for City Girl, then I have my PayPal prioritized. So I was willing to deprioritize PayPal because I don't know that person personally. Does that make sense? So, but do you see how that's an emotional decision? You see how that's like an emotional thing? Like my blinders went up and I totally was like, oh, well, I'm going to do what I want to do. Even though I know that I'm supposed to do my smallest debt, like even though there's a plan, that's what I mean when I say money is emotional, because that was an emotional decision. I know that company personally. I know who runs it. And so I'm prioritizing that, right? Like, but you can't, like, to do things right, you can't do that. So, Amray 55, I'm going to go back into my budget and correct that. I'm going to do that quickly here, which it shouldn't be that bad. It shouldn't be that challenging to correct, because it's actually going to give me a over in my balance, and then it'll just be a couple of numbers. So first I'm going to correct it here on my cash flow plan. And it's funny because I wrote it right, and then I was like, nope, emotion, you're going to make this decision. And so let's cross that out, and let's do $15 here. So what it looks like, thank you so much. I mean, this is why I love doing this stuff out loud, because as simple as my numbers are, as it's still like the emotions shift so much. There's so much. So 24 minus 3 minus 15. All right, so that would mean that on City Girl, I actually can pay a minimum of $9.93, and then my balance would be zero. So the reason that is the payment that I was putting on City Girl originally was $24.93. I was in error because I should be prioritizing my lowest balance first. So I switched it and put my minimum payment on PayPal, which is $15, which means left in my budget, I still have $9.93. So out of the anticipated income that I have for City Girl, I will make my minimum on PayPal and I will put $9.93 on my second debt. What I think is super fascinating about that is, do you see how now in my allocated spending, I'm actually putting money towards both debts? Whereas before, when I was letting emotion drive my decision and I was just choosing not to follow the Dave Ramsey plan, I was only able to take care of one debt. Do you see that? Do you see how like our emotions cause us to miss opportunity? Like my emotion, like I that's just amazing to me. So I'm not going to ramble on about that. But thank you so much, Ray55, because that is corrected. So now that that's corrected here, I need to come and correct it on my irregular income for spending, right? So before I was just gonna do 7 cents over, then if I made a little bit more, then I was gonna pay my PayPal. Now I just need to do the difference between what my minimum from City Girl is and what I'm actually paying for City Girl. So my minimum for City Girl is $25. So what I really will be spending on City Girl, if I get some extra money, is $15.07. And so that means still need to make the same amount of $15.07, but I don't have to worry about having two debts not really paid by their minimum. Does that make sense? Do you guys see how like that emotional decision was like, okay, I'm gonna put City Girl 7 cents left over on my irregular income. I was just making it complicated, just super making it complicated. Where when I just follow the Dave Ramsey plan, it's like, don't complicate it. You prioritize the smaller debt, and then in me prioritizing it out of my base income, I'm going to get some money sent towards both. I mean, I'm just super stoked about that. Super stoked. So it's corrected here. It's corrected here. And then last but certainly not least, I need to correct it on my allocated spending. And again, that will be a fairly easy thing to correct. I'm just going to rewrite it so it's in order. Oops. Sorry, I'm just destroying these lines. So 50, still not in order, guys. I don't know why this is driving me nuts. It's emotion. My emotions are like making me be weird. Okay, we're gonna write it and we're gonna do it. Okay, PayPal, $15. So my previous balance that I'm taking that from is 93. 43 minus 15. 43, then City Girl. We're doing $9.93 equals 68.50. Then all my other math is accurate. Oh, that feels good. That feels good. It was just another example of the awesomeness that is following a plan, because when you make mistakes, it is easier to correct them. So there's a little bit of a conversation. Lizzie Strawberry says, does Dave Ramsey say pay family and friends first? No, Dave Ramsey's plan is just focused on the numbers. So he doesn't add a personal aspect of it. And I talked about this in my How to Do a Budget. Susie Orman, that's her philosophy, is to pay people, then I think it's like pay people, then companies or something. I'm butchering it, but it's something like people first, money second, so pay people, then something to that effect. You basically pay people personal debts before you pay like corporate style debts. But yeah, I like Susie Orman, so maybe that was a little bit of that sort of mixed in there. But no, I'm not even going to blame that on Susie. That was just pure old emotion taking over of me being like, man, I really want to honor this person who I know, and make sure she gets her money out of my base income, but that's not right. So can't do it that way. Um, Jabel, how were you selected to do a TED Talk? That since it's unrelated to the budget, I won't answer it here, but I'll probably do a video about it because so many people have been asking me about it. Um, um, let me, um, Eat Poop said, I keep watching Stacey, so happy for all she does and haven't done my budget yet. Eat Poop, do your budget. You are here all the time. And you can definitely, everyone can benefit from a budget. Okay, guys, so now I'm going to turn you around and answer any questions that you may have. So give me just about 30 seconds and I'll get you all turned around. Okay. All right. I'm a little, that's a little high. Do you have the proper plug? Maybe. Is it low? I don't know. You can't see the. Just want to make sure you guys can see my face. Okay. So that is July 2018's budget. Do we have any questions or anything? I am super pumped about the budget. Something that comes up is people ask, why don't you put the irregular income for spending on the allocated spending? And it's because it's irregular income. So if you're an entrepreneur like me and you can't anticipate all of your income in the like most accurate possible way, I always say do an average, like a range of what you make, and just be honest with yourself, and then take your lower number. So for example, my average is 1,500 to 2,000. I know based on just the hours that I plan on working this month that my base will be 1,500, 500, and 500 for my part-time, and then 500 for my company salary. But just take your lower number as your base and then do a zero-based budget off of that, and then anything extra that you make as an entrepreneur, put that on the irregular income spending. And in terms of like not putting it on the allocated, remember the allocated is saying this is what I'm making in this pay period. If you get irregular income, like say, you do a creative project and somebody pays you $150, like there's not a way to necessarily track that here in a pragmatic sort of like organized way. So it's better to say, okay, I got $150. So if I look at my irregular income spending, let me go down to where about the $150 mark is, and I know that with that extra 150 I can take care of 1, 2, 3 items, if that makes sense. So that's why it doesn't show up, because there's not a specific pay period that follows irregular income. But the reason why you do a running total, in the direction of how much money per item, is so that you know, okay, if I only make an additional $275 in irregular income, I know exactly what 5 items can be taken care of. If I make the whole 500, I know I can take care of all 9 or 10. And so in some regards, it's a little, it's detailed enough, like the allocated spending, to be able to support you in managing your budget well. So that is all that I have for the July 2018 budget. I would love to answer any questions that you all have. If you don't have questions, we can jump off the line. I will check with you guys in my next video. So I'm just going to look to see if we have some more questions. JJ said it was a great talk. You're a gifted speaker. Thank you very much. I love speaking, and I am feeling ready to get back to that platform, because this is speaking, right? And that's something that I had to learn, is just all speaking is speaking, but there's just speaking on different platforms. And I'm very comfortable speaking on my YouTube platform, my podcast platform, and I'm ready to get back to my first love, which is the stage. So I'm super excited to be returning for speaking engagements. And if you're in the Chicago area, I actually have a speaking engagement on July 29th. I will leave a link to the details of that speaking engagement. And if you guys want to come and see me speak live, see me speak after a very long hiatus. The last time that I delivered a message from the stage was when I did the conference, the Woman Purpose Conference, back in September. So I would be honored to. So I'll make sure I leave the details once I post live right now, but once I post it, I'll make sure I leave a link to that upcoming event for you all. AF Demir, hi Stacey, will you do a video about your biggest love from Turkey? So that is actually what's coming next, because I just, Turkey, that's another one. So we're at 7. I'm excited about that, guys. That is, now that I'm actually on baby step 2, a lot of the content this month will be focused around bringing clarity to all of my debts, the details, and all the other stuff, because for the last 6 months, and it's been since October, so I want to be integral about saying that I've been doing this since October, but I know for most people it's just easier to think since January. But since October, I've only been talking about my income and the emotional stuff that comes up around income and me learning how to manage my income. I haven't really talked about managing the debt because, to be perfectly honest, I was not thinking about it beyond my minimums, because my focus was on baby step 0, baby step 1. Now that that's complete, I can shift into having way more conversations about the debt. But I do have a couple of videos on my channel right now about just the update in my debt snowball, where about $18,000 was forgiven, and another update where I explain the monthly interest that I'm occurring, the monthly interest that's adding up every single month based on the debts that I have. But yes, more and more details about my debt snowball are coming. Thrifty Simplicity said I need to do my budget too. Yes, everyone on the planet needs to do a budget. It will change your life, you guys. Like, for some of you guys have been following me from the beginning, and I don't know if you can see it in my face. Like, there's nothing different in my income. Like, my income is not dramatically different than where it was several months ago. My awareness and my knowledge, and dare I say my financial IQ, is what's shifting. And it's shifting because I'm doing the work, I'm getting my hands dirty, I'm making the mistakes. I think that, and somebody had mentioned this, it seems like things are moving swiftly for me. One, you guys are, it seems that way because you're watching. It doesn't feel that way because I'm living it, right? So that's one thing. But also, I think that I'm having some exponential growths or revelations or shifts, because I am sharing this publicly, and I have an international like access to teachers, right? Like, so a mistake that like you may make on your own for 6 months with no one pointing it out to you is very different than you posting one video and 50 people telling you that you made the same mistake. Like, you have no choice but to, I mean, you can pretend like you don't see it, but like, it's to your advantage to say, hey, 50 people have pointed the same thing out. Maybe I can take a look at it. And so I believe that there's a little bit of exponential growth in terms of how my financial IQ is increasing and how I'm able to just feel better about my budget, because it's like I have teachers from around the world who show up and type me very long things about how I can do my budget better. And because I'm open to that, right? Like I'm able to glean from those teachers. So, and it's wonderful because it's like men, women, mature, young, like it's all across the board. And I'm literally benefiting from that collective wisdom in terms of this money. And so when I get it, I get it. And then I show up another month and I try. But I also think that the really big factor is that people confuse thinking about their money with actually doing a budget for their money. It's like thinking about where your money is going to go, adding the numbers up in your head is nothing like writing them down on a piece of paper or filling them out in an app. And it is the equivalent of somebody being like, I'm thinking about cookie dough ice cream and that's enough. It's like, no, that's never enough. Thinking about cookie dough ice cream, even if you have memories of cookie dough ice cream and you know exactly what it tastes like and all the taste points, it will never taste as good and be as effective as actually putting a scoop of cookie dough ice cream in your mouth. And it's the same thing with your budget. When people only think through their numbers, it's like you don't know how to adjust it. You don't know how to shift it to something that's beneficial to you. You can't take down your emotional blinders because you're literally running it around in the machinery of your mind, and the mind loves things that are familiar. The brain loves efficiency, right? Like the brain wants to be efficient. It wants to take the same route. And so the brain is like, whatever, girl, you only make $1,500. You don't need to write that down. But it's like, if your thing in your mind is like, I don't even make enough money to budget, like that's the reason why you should do it. Because one, you need to see how much more money you need to make. Two, because you don't have a lot of money, you don't earn a lot of money by your standards, it should be easier for you then to do a budget, right? Like it shouldn't be harder. But what has a tendency to happen is people who don't have a lot of money, it's even harder for them to budget. But it should be easier because you are working with fewer dollars. And what people who are working with fewer dollars think is that, oh, well, when I make more money, it's going to be easier. No, the issue is not what you're earning. The issue is how you are managing or lack thereof. So that is a very long answer to your question. But yes, our response to yes, you need to budget. Everyone should budget. Are you going to do any meetups? I would love to do meetups. It's not in the cards right now just because it's just a lot of management and it's just me. So, but yeah, I love seeing people in person. But I think what I'm going to start doing is sharing more of my speaking engagements location, giving you guys like a 2 to 6 week timeline so that way events that are in your area, it'll be easier for you to come to those. So like I know I have an event coming up in Chicago, I know I have an event coming up in Texas, so I'll just start sharing more of that information. Claire Dennis, are you going to add to your savings soon? I will add to my savings once my income is over $20,000. So for example, I set the intention of earning $10,000 this month. So when I do that, then I would take a portion of that and put that into my savings to make it $1,000. But I will say this, once it's at 1,000, I will not be adding any more money to my savings account until I'm 100% debt free, because baby step number one, once your income is over $20,000, is in $1,000 emergency fund. Yep, thrifty simplicity. I've been doing the budget. I failed during my June budget, going to get back on. Yeah, I failed so many months. All you have to do is I have a playlist on how to budget Dave Ramsey style, and you could see how many times those budgets totally busted. And like, I show you me doing the budget, and then I'll also show you my report cards just so that you guys can see, like, failing is not an indicator that you should stop. It's an indicator that you should keep going, and you should examine, what's going on there, where that's at. And for me, what I realized in May is a really big issue for me was those emotional triggers. I didn't know. It took me several months to figure that out, but once I was in a very comfortable home, I was like, I'm still having really piss poor money behaviors. What's that about? And then I just examined it, and now moving into this month, even with my income being at $1,500, I'm not stressed, I'm not anxious, I'm not ashamed of how, the number last month was so much higher. It's like, I'm just grateful to have this money to manage. It feels amazing. So yeah, so keep failing until you get it right. And even this month, you guys saw that I would have failed to follow the plan that I keep saying that I follow, right? But I had this amazing teacher who showed up today who said, hey, shouldn't this be in this order? And I said, you know what? You're right. So keep failing. Angela, hi from Puerto Rico. Hello. IE presents this. That is so wise. Utilizing the collective wisdom coming at you puts you at a serious advantage. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, 100%. Like, I mean, there's no other place to gain. And I'm getting so many worldviews, right? Like, I'm getting people who, were like wealthy their whole life. I'm getting people who actually have whole real life trust funds. Like, I'm learning from people who didn't have anything, a single dollar to their name, and built an empire. I'm getting people who are on, Social Security. I'm getting people who are on government assistance. Like, and everyone is pouring their knowledge and their wisdom into me. And it's amazing to be able to get clarity about the errors and the mistakes that I'm making based on all of these people showing up to teach me. That's why I say, like, I adore you guys. Like, you're changing my life every single day. I love ya. Um, Timeless Treasures, where in Texas are you coming to speak? I am coming to Dallas, Texas to speak at the Woman of Purpose Conference 2018. I believe it is in November. I'm not 100% for sure. That's the reason why I haven't announced it yet. So I don't know the date, but it is Dallas, Texas. But more information will be out. If you want more information about the Women of Purpose Conference, just go to IamWomanofPurpose.com and you will be able to get tickets. And I hear they're going really fast, so I will get them as soon as possible. IE Present says, I found that emotional blocks to financial peace idea very helpful. Your vulnerability is priceless. Thank you. It was the game changer for me. Like, and that's something that I just want to make a note of because I like making notes apparently. So my emotional blocks were shame, resentment, and guilt. Those are not like universal emotional blocks. Those may not be your emotional blocks. Like your emotional, like there was somebody who wrote to me and she talks about how anytime she tries to do her budget, like she goes to sleep. Like she immediately, like almost as if not passing out, but like to the point where she'll like fall asleep at her desk if she's looking at her number. So like she may not, so I would tell her, examine before you go to sleep, what do you feel? Do you feel fear? Do you feel anxiety? Do you feel overwhelmed? Because shame, resentment, and guilt may not release enough for you to stop falling asleep. But you falling asleep is a really big, clear indication that there's some emotional overwhelming experience that you're having, and it's important for you to identify that emotion. And then if your emotion is anxiety, you do the same thing that I did with the other emotions. It's like, okay, how does anxiety serve me? Or if your emotion is fear, how does fear serve me? I just want you guys to know that there's like a plethora of other emotions. Those were just the emotions that I was able to acknowledge were going on inside of me. And now that I've set this intention for a $10,000 income goal, it's fascinating to see the emotions that are coming up with respect to earning, because those are just the emotions that I have about spending and savings. It's amazing to see the emotions that I'm having about actually earning. So that I agree that the emotional clearing the money block game changer. I just would encourage you to really, truly, intuitively say, okay, what am I feeling? I'm fine that Stacey felt shame and guilt, and some of the stuff that she said resonated with me, but you can have that same sort of a thought process with a different feeling, and but you won't get the emotional release if you just say, oh, well, Stacey's feelings were my feelings. It's like they could be, but they may not be, and there are just so many feelings. And if you want more language around feelings, just Google feelings, a list of feeling words, and then Google will give you like a list of like, I think it's like 88 feeling words, and then you can really get in the fine details. Like, do you feel confused? Do you feel sad? Do you feel unworthy? Because someone kept trying to say, you feel unworthy, and I'm like, I don't feel unworthy. I feel very worthy. That's not an issue for me. The issue is shame. But someone was like, no, it's unworthiness, and I'm like, I don't think I'm gonna let you tell me how I feel, So, um, Remisha, hi Stacey, can you do a video on how to best maximize, prepare for your sessions with a therapist? Like, do you write down in advance what you want to talk about? I never thought about that, but yeah, yeah, I'll do that. I'll do that. I'll try to do more content around therapy. You guys know that I have a partnership with BetterHelp, and I'm super excited about that. It's an online therapy platform, which is a little different than going into traditional therapy, which I have, where I go in about once a week to talk to a therapist. But yeah, I didn't realize that that was something that would support people, but absolutely. Um, Life coach Renee Williams said, hello, hello. JJ said, how has your life changed since you started sharing your financial journey on YouTube? And what do you love the most about doing so. Um, how has my life changed? That's a really good question. I would say probably I just have more accountability financially, but I think I probably okay. So in the last month is how I felt. I mean, I'm feeling more of the life change within the last month since I cleared those emotional blocks. Although I've been budgeting for a while, it didn't hit me the way last month hit me, and probably because those emotions were probably very much numbing me and like lowering my quality of life in general, and I just didn't know it because they were like unconscious in the back of my mind. But I would say that it's given me a lot of clarity. Like, I mean, the crispness, like even releasing the shame about my money helped me release the shame about other stuff, right? Me releasing the resentment about my money helped me release some grief and some resentment that I had with my sister's death and some feelings that I had about my parents and my sisters. So I would say that, I mean, it's dramatically changed my life for the better. I think that it has. There we go. The biggest change is that it's giving me my voice back, right? Like, I love speaking, and I specifically love speaking from the stage. And when I had, for in my opinion, that very public big failure financially and professionally, and I had the private failing of like losing my mind because I was so anxious and depressed and so triggered by PTSD. Like, all of that failure very much turned down the volume on my voice, very much turned down like just my ability to be able to speak the things that I know and the things that I'm learning. And I think that going through the process of documenting my financial journey publicly has given me my voice back. But it's giving me my voice back in an even more powerful way because before documenting my financial journey, I really did care a lot about like what other people thought, and like my priority was really being understood, making sure people knew exactly what I was talking about all the time. And since documenting my financial journey, I'm like, even if you say you're a student, it doesn't matter. People are still going to be like, I can't believe you messed up. It's like, I just told you, like, so that helped me to realize that, like, you're not always going to be understood. And so then that helped me to just make the decision, oh, well, I'm fine with being misunderstood. But that strengthens my voice because I'm not trying to speak to everybody. I'm not trying to serve everybody. I'm not even really trying to speak for the purposes of like doing something for you first. I'm speaking for the purposes of expressing and sharing my art. And then inside of me doing that, I'm standing in the belief that I'm also helping and serving and inspiring you. So it's just very much a shift in the quality of my voice and the volume of my voice, which is a long answer. My favorite part of doing this is the exponential learning growth. I've always loved money. Like always loved money, and I think that I didn't talk about it because I was bad with it, in my opinion. And I love that now I can talk about it and I can be bad about it and I can still grow. Like, I love learning and I love money, and it's fascinating to see these two things that I love merge together. That's my favorite part, talking, doing these YouTube videos. Like, I love that, like, me talking about money has suddenly enabled me to actually talk about all the other stuff that I want to talk about, which is like food and clothes and all these things that I've always wanted to talk about. I'm now able to talk about them, and I'm able to talk about them through the lens of money, which from a brand perspective is really very awesome. Um, let's see. IE Presents, you're welcome. IE Presents, they may not be universal financial blocks, but I'm betting they are in the top 10. I would agree. I would definitely agree. I like that. There's some top 10. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do some research on the top 10 financial emotional blocks so that way I can put together something to really help people clear. Because I do it one-on-one with my coaching clients, but it would be really awesome to be able to offer you guys something. Hi, Stacey. Glad I caught you live this time. It's currently 12:30 a.m. in South Australia. Thank you for watching from Australia. Like, this does not blow your mind. That is eight countries and several continents are represented on this call. Like, this live. This is awesome. Tina Applegate, Stacey, I love you. I feel as if you're speaking directly to me in all your videos. I appreciate you being able to walk along. I appreciate being able to walk along with you in this journey. So thank you. Thank you for showing up. I appreciate you. IE Presents, good for you. No one gets to tell you what you think, feel, or believe. Yeah. IE Presents, yes. numbing is a big factor for most of us. Yeah, a lot of our financial stuff, like we that blew my mind. It's like we're all just running around very, very numb, as woke or as conscious as people think they are in some areas. Like even your consciousness can be a form of numbing, because it's just like you're such a, like sometimes people like for example in my grocery hauls, like I say I'm not a vegetarian, I'm not a vegan, and people are like, but you are. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm on a budget, and it just so happens that meat is a little bit more expensive. I promise you guys, when my income increases, there's going to be so much meat in my diet that you guys are going to be like, I can't believe you're eating so much meat. And I'm going to be like, yeah, because I can afford it now, right? But I say that to say that there are sometimes there'll be like people who are vegetarian or people who are vegan or people who have a lifestyle choice, and they're so adamant about their lifestyle choice that they're using all the judgment that they lay on other people as a way to be like, but see, I'm this conscious person because I think about this. But it's just like, how is you being a vegan, and this is not for all vegans, so this is not like a dig on them, but I'm just saying for people who become really judgmental about towards other people who don't specifically follow their philosophy, it's like you're judging people is a way that you're using to numb yourself from feeling something. Because judgment, you have to be bigger, higher, better, superior to somebody else in order to judge them. You just have to be. So it's like people who judge other people, you're doing that because you're trying to numb out for something that you don't want to feel. And I just said vegans, but I want to step away from that, because you can judge people for anything. Like you can judge people for the clothes that they wear. It's like you're judging that person because you don't want to feel something about yourself. It may not even be related to clothes, but there's something that you don't want to feel. And it's a way of numbing yourself. No matter how conscious you are, if you are like ruthless in your judgment of other people, or you are very like mean and critical, it's like you're numbing something because there's something that you don't want to face. And that's why you have to be this like hyper vigilant, like type person or whatever. So yeah, it's fascinating then to see how that then affects our budget and our money. Yeah. That's why people say that your checking account balance really does show your priorities. It really just show who you are. Like I get why people judge people off their credit score, because it does really reveal something unconscious about the person, that like, and even unconscious to them, the where you spend your money reveals something about you. And I think that we have a lot of shame around it, because just as a culture in America, we're taught to be very quiet about it, and don't tell anyone how much you earn, don't like, we're just taught that. But I think we're taught that because it is so revealing. Money is so revealing of the person's values, priorities, emotional blocks, etc. And it's hard. People don't want to be seen that clear. Yeah. Adventures with Lane. How can you get others, i.e. partners and family, to understand when you are dedicated to getting out of debt, but they consider debt normal and guilt you into sticking to a tight budget? The best way to do that is just to be an example. I do not like, and even you can see in the YouTube community, at least for every one person who tells me that I'm doing good and I'm on the right track and way to go, there are 10 other people who tell me that I'm ridiculous, I'm wrong, I need to stop, blah, 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 blah. I do not spend my time trying to convince those people that I'm right. I simply do what I said I was going to do. And then sometimes they will come back around and be like, oh, I watched another one of your videos and now I see what you're doing, right? Like, but I do not spend any of my time trying to convince those people, because those people can never, hear me, never be convinced with words. They only can be convinced, if that's what you want to call it, or transformed, converted, whatever you want to call it, by like seeing the action. That is it. There's never like, there's some people who who seeing is believing, and then there are some people who believing is seeing. And when you're dealing with your family and when you're dealing with your partner, especially when you're in a relationship, I'll say this: your boyfriend or your girlfriend don't want to hear about your financial goals, because they have likely experienced all of your financial blueprint and all of your emotional blind spots. So they have a vantage point of seeing the ways in which you've been ridiculous with money. So now you're like, oh, I'm 2 months into a program, I'm jamming, I'm da da da. They're like, yeah, but 6 months ago you bought a $500 pair of shoes. So congratulations that you did 2 budgets. Does that make sense? Like they literally have the view to see your financial blind spots, your financial weaknesses, and just your piss poor financial behavior. So it's really going to be hard to convince them just because of the perspective that they've had. But family, it's going to be hard to convince them because in our family, every family has a culture. And anytime you do something outside of that family culture, there is either going to be punishment to get you to come back into the family culture, because the family culture is designed to stick together and be like a tight knit, like a little tribe. So they're going to either punish you to make you come back in. And when I say punish, it could just be something as simple as talking about you. I'm not saying they're going to like beat you, but they'll either punish you or they'll try to praise you to get you to come back into the family culture, because the family culture, the family dynamic doesn't want to feel like it's losing its members. It doesn't want to feel like it's losing the contribution, et cetera, et cetera. So it's like, you have to understand that that's just going to be there. And the only way that you let your tribe or your family know that you're okay out here is by being okay. So I'm, since October, been doing this. So I'm 7-10 months into this. And now my closest friends and family are like, okay. And a part of the reason why it took them this long is not because my videos aren't quality or because they can't see me trying. It's because I did this before, right? And I failed. So they're like, we're not coming on board for this again, Stacey. You tried this and it didn't work. So why would you try it again? And I could have spent time explaining to them like, no, it wasn't the plan. It wasn't this. Or I could have just walked it out. And now they're seeing me have more relief. They're seeing the peace in my face. They're seeing the clarity. And like, you know, my sister called and she was just like, can you help me with my budget? Like, can you do this? And I'm like, yeah, absolutely. And even the position in which I'm helping them, I'm not helping them from a judgy McJudge pants like perspective. I'm helping them from a like, man, I hope that you get this in the way that I got this so that you can feel this way. Like, you know, it's a totally different position. So don't worry about your partners. Don't worry about your families. Worry about yourself. Focus on like just doing it right and doing it consistently, and let your example of all of the relief that you have, all of the abundance that starts flowing, all of the clarity that you have, let that light of all of that stuff be the thing that inspires them to come on board. Because for the people who judged me in the beginning, all that light is what's inspiring them to come back now. And they're like, oh, okay, I'm back. And I'm like, wonderful to have you here in the community, you know? So I hope that answers your question. Hey, I got some super cash from Candace. Thank you so much. She gave me $20. That's super awesome. So that was unexpected, but I just want to point out, right? So if I come to my irregular income planning, I have $20. So if I come down to like the 20-ish dollar threshold, I know that now I can pay the remaining balance on my City Girl, and I'll have about $4.93 left over. That would bring me down here. So I'm already taking care of some of my irregular income planning stuff. So awesome. Thank you so much, Candace. I really appreciate you giving me that money. That is super awesome. Asia Superstar. Hi, Stacey. Thank you for being so transparent. I love your videos and your skin is beautiful. Thank you so much. I was super grateful for my skin in the last video. I'm like, but this is how, like, I know when I'm stressed, because my skin will be like, blah. And I just have to accept that that's just my body's, like, fire alarm system. Ella Monet, you are an inspiration. I appreciate your videos. New to your channel. If someone wanted to send you a gift, how can they go about doing that? I have a shipping address. I don't know it by heart. But I will leave it in the link when I post this video. I will leave it in the comments below, and I'll start to paste that shipping address. I'll start to paste that on all of my videos so that you guys can have that. If you're not like physically sending something, Super Chat is awesome. But PayPal also, a lot of people have sent monetary gifts through PayPal, so you're more than welcome to do that. Let's see. Anything else? It doesn't look like we have any other questions. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. Thanks for hanging out this long, for just being my global teachers. I just adore you guys. This is so super awesome, and I hope that it was as beneficial for you as it has been for me. And until the next video, I will talk to you all very soon. Bye.